Donald Trump done it. He called VP Kamala Harris garbage. Yes. Well, here it is.
Well, Kamala Harris has given two speeches now that she's the candidate, and they're almost identical speeches. This is what she's doing. She's going after you this way. Watch.
Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I promise you, I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
As the attack, what's the retort?
Well, I think it's disgusting, and I get a kick out of one thing. They say, sir, be nice. You just got hit with a bullet. Maybe he's changed. Be nice. And I'd love to be nice, but I'm dealing against real garbage. When you hear that, they've weaponized the justice system against me. They've indicted me 4 times. They've pushed other lawsuits onto me. It's never happened in this country. This is like a third world country, what they've done, a banana republic. Every single court case that I have is pushed on by them. They've taken the Justice Department, used local DAs, and used local attorney generals.
You know what I love about this? And I have more, by the way. Donald Trump is no longer on the offensive. Do you see the switch here? He is being interviewed about responding to somebody else. Typically, the interviews are about everyone else responding to him. Now he is responding to someone else. This is a switch in the dynamic of his flow. There's more.
Every single case I have, and I just won the big one in Florida that Biden didn't win. What happened to Biden is they called him incompetent. He can run for president, but he's incompetent to represent himself in court. But just so you know, they push all these cases on me. They're the ones that started. And then they say, I'm a prosecutor. He's a criminal. They're the ones. Every case is started by them. And I'm winning the cases, but every case, and the big one I just won in Florida was just thrown out by a brilliant judge, to be honest with you.
Eileen Cannon.
And it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful that they can do this. It's called weaponization, and it does happen in other countries.
So, Mr. President,
but does it get under your
skin? It's never happened in this country before.
Does that get under your skin when those comments are made? Because that's what they're meant to do.
It's not a question of getting under your skin. You fight back. I fought back, I think, very valiantly. But they weaponized the United States Justice Department against Donald Trump for purposes of hurting their political opponent. And so far, and I think long term, it's had a positive effect. My poll numbers are high. They're higher than they've ever been. People don't like what they're doing. They weaponize it to go after a political opponent. Now, and she was very much in charge, and she was a prosecutor, but she was a failed prosecutor. She put a lot of people in jail that should have never been there. She put people in jail that were political enemies. She's bad news. She's a radical left, not very smart person.
Mr. President,
she failed her bar exam. She couldn't even pass her bar exam. It was brutal on her. She couldn't pass it. She thought she'd never be able to pass it. This is what we have as our next president?
Sir, we had you for 4 years and we're still here. Here's the thing. Trump, obviously, trying to hold on to anything that may catch his surrogates are saying DEI hire. That's their tonality. Donald Trump himself calling the VP garbage. And the allegation that she did not pass the bar, she did pass the bar, became an attorney, became attorney general. Now, there's an echo chamber. And one thing Republicans do quite well is they sing as a chorus, even when they don't all sing at the same time. So here's what Senator Ted Cruz said.
Radical. Let me say at the outset, Kamala can't have my guns, she can't have my gasoline engine, and she sure as hell can't have my steaks and cheeseburgers. She is a radical California leftist, and to be honest, she perfectly captures where today's Democrat Party is.
All right, Ted. Okay. Ted is the same guy after Donald Trump called his wife ugly. He's the same guy who said, Donald, keep my wife's name out of your mouth, and then proceeded to endorse him the next week. Now, also, there are, well, a number of Christian right-wing individuals. They think this is of the devil. Here it is.
She is more radical than Obama. And the problem is she's already stated it. However, there's such a hubris and such a kind of like aggression on the handlers on the left that they want her in. And what makes me concerned is if her unelectability doesn't stop them, then they think that she's going to stir up the race wars by playing the race card. She's going to stir up the gender wars by playing the woman against man. She's going to go back and tear open the wounds in America to say Trump is an angry white racist with a dangerous MAGA movement in order to rupt. This is what the devil's choice is, I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense unless they know how to rig the election and they think they can win it by rigging and they can hemorrhage America's unity to their advantage.
These individuals are terrified. This is the devil's choice. How do you know, sir? Do you talk to him? Do you commune with Satan? Is that how you know what? Okay. And here's what Tim Scott said. Excuse me, here's what Rick Scott said.
Why would she skip the speech?
Because she supports Hamas. It's real simple. She works for the Hamas-loving part of her party.
She got a new job? Damn. Okay. Obviously, she does not work for Hamas-loving part of the party. Free Palestine is not pro-Hamas. According to Israel, or Netanyahu, they're at war with Hamas and not at war with Palestinians. However, they criticize those that stand up for Palestinians. But the irony is extreme. The contrast is real. The friction is good. It is good for Democrats. It is good for democracy. And I'm glad we have a contrast between Donald Trump, what he represents, and VP Kamala Harris, now presidential contender. But they are doing all they can do to create narratives against her rather than talking about policies on the right. The Republican Party is no more. All right. Yasmin, thoughts here?
Ooh, yeah, well, of course, he called her garbage. He does not know what to do with Kamala Harris. And as you pointed out, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing the Republicans and Trump truly on the defensive here. They're trying to swing it as an offensive strategy, but they are scrambling and they're just looking for that talking point that's going to stick right now. Trump is rambling. He's rambling on news programs. He's rambling on Truth Social, all over the place. He's lying. He's speaking out of his you know what.
Yep.
And yeah, like how exactly do you become the attorney general without passing the bar? That's a great question. It's not true. He is scared of Kamala Harris. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be acting out this way. She's educated, well-spoken, and experienced in government, definitely more experienced than Trump. She has a track record of working towards the issues that she's still championing right now in her role as VP and now as a presidential candidate. And Ted Cruz is my senator. He's from Houston. I'm from Houston. He is so irritating. He thinks he epitomizes all of Texas culture, but living here, I got to say, I don't get the impression that many Texans see him as the best representative of Texas culture. He tried so hard.
Yeah.
What was he saying? Don't take my steaks and cheeseburgers. Bro, like what? No one is taking your beef. This was a talking point from when Cory Booker was running back in the day. Why is it coming up again now with Kamala Harris? I don't know.
You know, they do this rinse and repeat thing. And so they say radical, right? Well, you know, Dr. King was called radical. Obama was called radical. He got elected, okay? So they rinse and repeat Ted Cruz, tough guy rhetoric, always tries to sound tougher than he actually is. And, Kamala Harris was the police. So I don't think she's anti-gun. She's common sense gun reform like the vast majority of Americans.